Wait a freaking minute. Wolfie, are you trying to bring back memes from 2010 again? I swear you are not getting away with it this time.
So, I may have goofed. It turns out that the new camera that I have has an option to increase lighting and other saturation at the click of a button, but it doesn't really show if that's been enabled when you're recording. So, I accidentally pressed this for both this week's and the next week's recording without noticing until looking at it in my editing program, and it's quite bright. I've been able to salvage most of it, thankfully, but there are still some parts that are way too freaking bright to watch. So this week's opening will take on a slightly different style, as the window itself will be minimized to sort of spare your eyes. I apologize in advance for this, but I'm still getting used to operating the new camera, and let's be honest, I'm not a photographer in any way. I can do editing, I can do audio, but video recording, not my thing. Regardless, let's get right on into the opening. Greetings everyone, and welcome back to the Mighty Dragoon, looking glorious as always. Last week, we managed to dig into our next, our next roadblock, if that makes sense, looking to bolster our deck for going second. We pulled some of the nightmares, nothing we wanted out of the 2019 tin, so unsurprisingly, this week we're doing the same thing again. 2019 tin, 4 packs of Genesis Impact. We still need to find an Artemis in here, and we still need to find Nightmare Phoenix. From this, we need to find everything. Let's pop this right open. Plastic noises are good as always. Let's get this out of here. Don't need to look at it. Right then. Let's start with the promos. You know, we gotta get through them. They are the most important part of everything here. Let's give them a look, shall we? Oop, that is very bright. I apologize. There we go. Opa. Magician of Black Chaos Max. Neo Kaiser Glider. Yes! Give these a little bit of a drop here. There we go. Let's dig through our stack of cards. Twin GGEZ. Another Ben 10. Drytron Eclipse. Opa. Well, we don't care about Meteor Shower, but that is the Phoenix completed. Thank God, I really wanted this card because it can get us into a rank 4 very easily, but it's also so good because we can very easily pop 2 cards to get rid of problematic back row. Very nice. Evil Twin Challenge, Drytron Nova. I believe this is one of the more expensive cards of the set. Who knows? Very cool. Probably crap. World Legacy Nightmare, Watch Cat, Mamamaki, Link Devotee, Vandred Nightmare, Terrifying Toddler of Torment. Our rare is Crusadia Revival. Our super is Crusadia Draco. Wait, this looks exactly the same like the other one we opened. Danger Dogman. Oh my god, is this just the same pack? Until Noble Arms are needed again. Wow, that felt like an identical tin. That's not great. Cyber's Gadget. Evil Twin Challenge. Another invoked Magicelania, or however you pronounce it. Drytron Gamma Eltalin. I think we have most of the Drytrons now. Evil Twin Present. Another Cacutus. Tris Magistus as our super. Link Turret. Dark Dragster. Cyber's Cyclone. Goki Face Turn. World Legacy Awakens. Transfamiliar. Our rare is Mirror Force Launcher. Our super is Cyber Rev System. This card's actually pretty good. We get Reproductus as our Ultra. And Mana Dragon Zeraton as our secret. That is not great either. Full of other crap we don't care about. It is a second copy of Hattricker. A Star Drawing. Evil Twin Present. another Zeta Algebra, another Dark Mist, another Herald of Ultimateness, and then Cyber Emergency as our super. Cyber Emergency is pretty cool if we were playing, you know, Cyber Dragons or Drytrons, unfortunately. Backup Operator, Volticular Drum Dragon, Link Streamer, Trickstar Bouquet, Cybernetic Overflow, FA Winners. Our rare is Nomalai Custin. Our super is Hyphen King Genghis. Our ultra is another Widow Anchor. A World Legacy Succession is our secret, and then nothing. Wow. That's unfortunate, drawing another Widow Anchor. We want, namely an Artemis. Let's skip through the commons here because we know what they are. And we get ourselves a second Crowley as our super. That is unfortunate, but such is the way of life. But on the plus side, we do have two cards that are actually very, very good that we needed right now. Nibiru more so than anything because it outs so many decks currently, even though it's getting worse with how Drytron are becoming a thing, namely. It's still very good to have for the side deck. I'm absolutely overjoyed that we got this. Alright, that'll be it for this opening, I suppose. Back to our regular scheduled dueling. So before we visit the merchant this week, we have something to discuss. Last week, we hit 1,000 subscribers, which is an absolutely massive milestone in terms of what I set out to do. During the time to get here, however, a lot of viewers have been asking me if there's a way to support me outside of just watching YouTube. And to be frank, I've kind of been hesitant to do anything beyond that because I'll be perfectly honest, I don't think I'm worthy spending money on. But now it's gotten to the point where there's been so many people asking me if there's a way they can, so I guess I'm selling out at this point. So starting from this week, TCGWolf officially has a Patreon. Yeah, I caved, and now it's there. Keeping in mind that all content that I make is and forever will be completely free. I'll never put a paywall on anything that I do that people wouldn't get otherwise. The Patreon is literally there for people that want to go the extra mile and, you know, support the show for what it is. So if you are one of those that want to support the show behind the scenes and help me pay for all the goddamn cardboard I've piled up, consider supporting the Patreon. Everything that I get is going to be shoved straight back into the series to make content for you guys. Speaking of which, we actually have our first ever Patreon to shout out today. J-Chip, thank you so much for joining the support squad. Your support means everything to me and it keeps me doing what I love to do. With all that out of the way, however, let's carry on carrying on and go visit the merchant.
Guess what time it is? That's right, it's time to spend. Spend. Here's today's lineup.
Damn it, the Equal Exchange card is still too expensive. It's something we need to pick up so we can throw away some of our high value cards for something we actually need, but 20 starships is something I just don't have. We'll have to pass for this week as well and hope that the price goes down sometime soon.
The price wouldn't be an issue if you didn't suck, you know?
Now this is a story, all about how Wolfie has to accept another challenge. Wow. And I'd like to take a minute, just sit right there, I'll tell you all about the punishments coming his way.
Now hold on, weren't you the one telling me not to be quoting memes?
Hey, I'm as fresh as it gets. Now pick a challenge, or I'll show you who is up to no good.
I mean, considering how poorly challenges have gone lately, I suppose we'll do the last slot for an easy one, so let's pick up Fusion Frenzy.
Roger that. Now get out there and make me proud, or I'll ship you back to Duel Academy.
There's your winner, everyone. Congratulations on your performance last week.
Hey, thanks, but what the hell happened to your voice?
I had a sore throat. Seems to have gotten better. Never mind that though, we've got a new challenge for you today. J-Chip will be the one taking you on today. Rumor says he's trying out the new Spriggans, but who knows what they do, am I right? With your victory last week your bounty has increased, but even more is now on the line. What will it be, risk or reward?
Do I look like someone who's afraid of a new archetype? I'm risking everything. Bring it on, J-Chip.
Now that's what we like to hear. Give him all you've got. You got them work rooting for you.
So, kicking off the first duel of this week, we're going up against the almighty Drytrons. Our opponent begins by activating Cyber Emergency, going into his Drytron combo that we know and love, looping through all of his Drytrons until eventually he picks up their Ritual spell as well as Vanity's Ruler, sacrificing his 2 monsters for Vanity's Ruler, and yeah, we still don't have an out to Vanity's Ruler, do we? We really need to find an out to Vanity's Ruler. Our hand is not built to deal with him either, as we don't have access to Dragon or anything else that could allow us to spin him back to the hand, as we're forced to simply set 3 pass with nothing in hand to fight as he activates Fafnir, and we already know at this point that we stand no chance, so I very quickly scoop them back up and we go to game 2. On the plus side, we now have a ton of sideboarding options available against Drytrons. We've sided in both Nibiru and Duel Unlock. We managed to open both of them in our starting hand. Our opponent goes for Cyber Emergency, which we immediately change Duel Unlock, hoping that he won't be able to go anywhere because he needs a lot of pieces in his hand to do so. However, he does have Drytron Nova in his hand, and it is enough because he has Vanity's Ruler in his starting... Yep, we're once again face to face with Vanity's Ruler through a Duel Unlock, preventing us from also summoning Nibiru to blow out his field. We do have a dragon we can set, however, hoping that his following turn doesn't have anything, but knowing Drytrons, they can loop from the graveyard, so it doesn't freaking matter. He normal summons Manu of the Thousand Hands to go into Ben 10 so he can pitch Ben 10 to get his Drytron combo going once again, and he picks up the Herald of the Orange Light, meaning we now have no chance whatsoever of getting rid of that Vanity's Ruler. He is, at this point, just flexing on us because he knows that we literally have 0 chance to fight back whatsoever. He links off into Blacklust Soldier of Chaos, which is kind of cool, actually. It's one of the cards that I was tempted to run in this deck, but it's so hard to find that I just... You know, it's on the list of 1,000 things I want to try. He bashes over our dragon, negates dragon, and then with the help of Eva, picks back up 2 more negates for his hand. And at this point, there is literally not a single card in our deck that can out the current board. A Wendy is simply not enough, but we go ahead and flip up our Terraforming in vain anyway, drawing it to Magical Meltdown. Magical Meltdown will fetch us an Alistair. Alistair will not be normal summon because we activate Allure of Darkness in order to try and find something, but we draw into our second Nibiru, and there's not much to do here, guys. This deck is going to be haunting us for a long time, and we will need to severely change up our build if we want to fight against it. As for now, with the limitations that we have, we don't have an out to the current board because Nibiru cannot be used, so we simply scoop them up and we take the hard defeat. But we are not going to let that defeat get to us as we go into game number 2, where we're playing up against Infinitracks. Our opponent is forced to go first, to which he immediately passes doing nothing, which is apparently just a playstyle people do nowadays. I'm not entirely sure why, but hey, that's what it is. We set 2 and pass, to which he just passes turn again. Interesting. We decide to set yet another card and then pass turn back to our opponent again to see if he's going to do anything with his hand of 7. He sets 1 and does nothing. Again. Huh. We just pass our turn, and our opponent sets 1 and passes turn. Huh. At this point, we decided to just flip up an Alistair and begin our combo to see if we can get anywhere off, but Alistair gets hit with an Ash Blossom, to which we flip Squamata, not triggering its effect to pop Alistair, going into our Anaconda, activating Anaconda's effect to try and get Dragoon onto the board. In doing so, we're hit with a Forbidden Droplet, unfortunately, so our plant is negated. We hit for 250 big ones. And then we just set 1 card and pass our turn, because what else are we going to do at this point? Our opponent now finally decides to act by setting a monster, then activating the effect of Infinitrack Trencher in order to sacrifice his face-down monster to special summon it. He also manages to special summon Fright Train, linking off into Goliath. Goliath hits over our poor snaky boy for 500 points of damage, and we have been woefully defeated. He also hits in using his train. You would say this is trains, but I'm saying this is Infinitrack. He attempts to activate Machina Overdrive, which we hit with an Ash Blossom to make sure that he can't sacrifice Goliath for more value. He links off into Double-Handed Anger Knuckle, which has been a card that is just a pain in the ass to deal with because it stops Shaddoll Fusion from functioning correctly. We activate Shaddoll Fusion, to which he immediately tributes it, meaning our Shaddoll Fusion is no longer live from the deck, so we're forced to summon Construct from our hand. It isn't too bad in this specific instance because we are still able to get something out of it, but we're met with another Forbidden Droplet. We decide to chain our Super Poly, forgetting that Droplet triggers on effect resolution, So it still hits our Shekinaga, but we do manage to set a beast off and get a Shekinaga on board, activating the effect of Construct and Hedgehog to draw ourselves some more cards to our hand, activating Monster Reborn to bring back our Construct, to which our opponent immediately scoops. Moving into game number 2, and we've sighted in very prematurely here because we don't quite know what's going to go down. Our opponent activates Heavy Forward, going into Infinitrack Harvester. Harvester in turn gets Brutal Dozer and then links off into Goliath. Infinitrack Dozer then comes off by sacrificing Goliath, getting him the advantage of Goliath hitting the graveyard, and he manages to Exceed Summon into Riverstormer. Riverstormer has some dope artwork, by the way. I absolutely love it. He does manage to get himself an Super Express Bullet Train onto the board, linking off for another Goliath, then linking into Ancient Gear Ballista. Ballista grabbing him the Ancient Gear box from his deck, activating box's effect to get Tunneler, then getting Gear oh, sorry, not Gear Ballista, it's Tunneler. I don't remember. They're all machines, man. He links off into Goliath once again, banishing his Trencher in order to special summon Harvester once again, linking in to Anger Knuckle, and at this point he is set up to prevent our Shaddoll fusion from going live once again. He shuffles some card back in to draw 2 cards, then sets 2 and passes turn back to us. At the end step, his Super Express Bullet Train activates, returning it to the hand. We get an Ash a little bit too late, but we do go off into activating Shaddoll Fusion, knowing he's going to negate it anyway, but we manage to get into App Cologne. Arios Effect is attempting to banish all cards from his graveyard, but we're hit with a Called by the Grave. Interesting. We do negate his Heavy Forward permanently, as his Express Bullet Train is already negated. Machina Overdrive gets activated when we try to pop up with Dragon, but we manage to send Ash Blossom to prevent it. We then activate Monster Reborn to get Anger Knuckle back, and the idea here was that I would link these off to go into Dragoon, but then I couldn't. Because I'm a dum-dum, because Anger Knuckle can't. Yikes. Should probably learn to read cards, shouldn't I? Regardless of that, Bullet Train is returned to the deck at the end step, or he returns a card, I should say. The normal summon of Anchor Drill comes out, which chains to Ancient Gearbox, and his combo starts over once again. He increases the lever to link into Dingirsu popping our back row. Okay. Reshaddoll Incarnation is now in the graveyard as he attacks into Anger Knuckle, sending it to the graveyard, activating its effect to special summon it by sacrificing the Heavy Forward, then sacrificing it to summon Brutal Dozer once again, and his combo is underway. Trencher hits the board. He Exceed Summons into Riverstormer once again, and I still love the artwork of Riverstormer. It is dope as all hell. It's just a tank. He activates Machina... not Heavy Forward to get Machina Fortress and Machina Overdrive, Machina Fortress hitting the board. He then activates Riverstormer by sending a card to search a card. Infinitrack Harvester hits the board once again, and if we had Nibiru by now, then whoo boy. But we don't. He Exceed Summons into Earth Slicer, which is one of the more terrifying Infinitrack monsters because it has such good recurrence, and we are about to see it. He links into Infinitrack Goliath, then sacrificing his Trencher to go into another Goliath, then using Earth Slicer's effect to sacrifice Goliath to go back into Earth Slicer. Goliath then attaching itself to Earth Slicer, to which he uses the effect in order to pop a Rapcalon, which we draw a Squamata, throw Squamata to send Wendy, Wendy's effect to set Beast, hoping we can draw into something for the next turn. A Shaddoll fusion here would be golden, if we could get one. He chains his Infinitracks once again from the graveyard, just basically bouncing his entire extra deck back and forth, ending on a Anger Knuckle once again, adding most of the cards back to the extra deck in order to draw 2, and it's not looking great, is it? At the main phase 2, or at the end of his turn, I should say, he sets 2 passes to us as we get a Red Eyes Black Dragon. We flip open Beast, having now something to feed it, but we're hit with a Solemn Strike. Solemn Strike is going to end this game as we move on to game number 3. Here we go with the Make It or Break It game number 3 up against Infinitracks, and our starting hand is not bad this time around, to be perfectly honest. Our opponent is again forced to go first, to which he sets 1 and then simply passes turn as we draw into... How does this brick keep getting into our hand? Come on, it's 3 cards in the deck. We decide to just set 1 and pass it to our opponent, who decides this time it's time to start hard. He goes with Anchor Drill that special summons Brutal Dozer from the hand. As Brutal Dozer's effect is attempting to activate, I hit it with an Ash Blossom, forcing him to link off into VFD? Okay. He activates the effect of VFD, to which he punches it to Trick Clown, but Trick Clown's effect is activated in the graveyard, so it still goes off, as we pay 1,000 life points to get it back. Unfortunately, this means that our next turn is just really dead, because we can't do anything because VFD is there. He activates the effect of VFD, forcing us to not have anything. We attempt to Shaddoll Fusion anyway to build the board, but it's hit with an Ash Blossom, so we simply pass. At this point, our opponent summons another Harvester, which puts a Brutal Dozer in his hand when he links it off to Goliath. He then activates Dozer's effect to sacrifice Goliath to bring it onto the board, activating Dozer's effect and equipping Goliath to VFD. At this point, VFD yet again has a material, so we're just kinda screwed, if not for Big Space Rocco. Brrr! We finally get to Nibiru, our opponent, giving him a token of actually something we can't punch over, but it forces our opponent to end his turn, activating the effect of Bullet Train to get a card into his hand, as our draw is just not good enough. We activate Monster Reborn, hoping that we can do something with it, and I do a bit of a misplay here. I'm scared of his back row, so I link into Phoenix first, losing one material to pop a Twin Twister. And this forces my hand to be empty, unfortunately, as we go into Dragoon. This means that I don't have a negate live, thinking that he can't bring enough onto the board to beat over Dragoon. I'm going to be sorely mistaken, but we do beat in for a hefty chunk of damage regardless, now being empty-handed, but with Big Daddy on the board. We pass our turn to our opponent. At this point, he normal summons Harvester once again, getting a Brutal Dozer from his deck, activating the effect of Trencher, this time to special summon Anchor Drill from the graveyard. Anchor Drill's effect goes off, as well as special summoning Brutal Dozer. Brutal Dozer increases their level, and he goes into Phantom Fortress I can't pronounce him, Enter Blathnir, which is just a non-targeting monster banish. Yikes. Yeah, if we had a card in our hand, we could have probably stopped that, so if I wasn't scared of the back row, the result might have been different. Our opponent's combo continues, and you've seen it now, and there is nothing we can do to stop it. He simply goes into his battle phase, beating over our poor snaky boy, then for a massive chunk with this literal flying aircraft carrier turtle, leaving us at 1600 life points as he links both of his monsters off into Anger Knuckle, making sure that we cannot use Shaddoll Fusion on our turn. He continues his combo by activating Redeployment, getting Machina Citadel and Fortress to his hand, special summoning Fortress by sending Citadel to the graveyard. We draw into a Droll Unlock. Ah, that sucks! It was a good duel, though. For our last ranked match of today, we're going to be playing up against the personal favorite of mine, Sky Strikers. Our opponent activates Upstart Goblin, going into Pot of Desires, which we decide to hit with the Ash in our hand as a normal summon Sky Striker Ray. He, at end phase, activated its effect in order to go into Shizuku, drawing him into Area 0, and then his turn ends. We draw into Pancratops, which is perfect, so we simply normal summon it immediately as we decide to use Monster Reborn to get his Ray back, mostly for the reason of activating our El Shaddoll Fusion going into Winda. Winda is very interesting because, let's be honest, Winda is the best way we can win this. Pancratops beats over Shizuku, activating Ray's effect, bringing it back from the graveyard, to which we go, okay, I'll beat over it using Winda. Main phase 2 comes down as we set our Hedgehog and now having a set Beast as well as we pass our turn, waiting for Sky Strikers to perform anything. Area 0 gets onto the board as he sets a card, popping it to get a Shark Cannon. He then normal summons Rose, going into Hayate. Hayate in the battle phase, of course, punches us in the face for 1500 points of damage, activating Hayate's effect to drop a Widow Anchor to the graveyard, and then he is forced to pass turn. At this point, we flip open our Beast in order to draw into something. We do draw Allure and Super Poly, which are both great. We then flip open Hedgehog in order to draw into Shaddoll Fusion, which we can activate after linking away our Winda to go into Cross Sheep. Winda gets banished by DD Crow, but still picks up the El Shaddoll Fusion from the graveyard. We then use our Shaddoll Fusion to go into Construct, and our combo has begun. But we do already have a Cross Sheep, so our combo's kind of cut in half, I guess? We do manage to completely fill the board, however, which is quite interesting by itself, and for the first time ever, we actually go into our Boral Sword. We go straight into combat instead of linking off and doing any funny business, using Boral Sword to bash into Hayate, Hayate activating its effect to send a Afterburner. At this point, he normal summons, or special summons a Ray from the graveyard. Ray activates its effects to go into Kaina, which is actually a problem because it hits our Boral Sword, making it unable to attack again. We do use our Pancratops in order to beat over his Kaina, activating the El Shaddoll Fusion that was picked up, and he scoops. Game number 2, now having sideboarded in every single piece of back row removal that we own. Our opening hand is not great, but apparently neither is our opponent as he sets 3 and passes turn. We draw into an Alistair, which is actually really good, so we activate our Shaddoll Fusion preemptively to go into Construct, activating the effects of Trick Clown and Dragon. Trick Clown gets special summoned, of course, and Dragon decides to pop a random back row, being a Shark Cannon. Beast gets sent to the graveyard to draw us a card, which draws us into a Terraforming that we can go to Magical Meltdown in order to get Alistair, which is actually really helpful. Alistair gets normal summon onto the board as we activate Invocation for some reason without linking, because I guess I'm not thinking that great, or I'm playing through Nibiru without thinking about it, but we do manage to get a Mechaba onto the board, shuffling Invocation back into the deck, failing the challenge yet again because I am not thinking. Mechaba and Construct both go in for a hefty chunk of damage, and at this point, we may have the game in a turn. Our opponent activates Cosmic Cyclone, getting rid of our Magical Meltdown for some reason, and then immediately scoops. Great. So for our viewer duel this week, we are playing up against J-Chip on this old program. Woo! He is playing the new Spriggans archetype, which is basically a machine archetype that wants to special summon some really cool Exceed monsters, but he does not really get a chance to do that this match. His turn ends after getting hit with an Ash Blossom, and our combo is just getting started. We managed to get into our almost full combo off of only 2 cards here as we link off into our Phoenix. I can't remember the name. We go into Crusadia Avramax and we beat him for a hefty chunk of damage to turn 1 and pass it to J-Chip. J-Chip draws into their field spell, activating Foolish Burial before dumping another Spriggan, activating the field spell, and being forced to pass his turn to where he concedes. For game number 2, our start is not much better, but at this point, he goes first, activating the new Pot of Prosperity, choosing to go for 3 and finding an impermanence off the top that he adds to his hand. He then activates the Spriggan Search spell once again, which gets hit with an Ash. He sets 2 and passes turn to us. Our starting hand is not great, so we simply decide to shotgun a Dragoon out onto the board because, hey, at this point, why not? Dragoon goes in for 3,000 points of damage as we pass turn to J-Chip once again. He decides to activate Tuning, getting Quick Draw Synchron. I haven't seen him in a while. He normal summons Scrap Recycler, going into Scrap Wyvern, which gets hit with a negate from Dragoon, and he's forced to pass turn. At this point, we draw our monster that we can use to end the game. He uses Infinite Impermanence in vain as we go in for a very clean 2-0. That ended really quickly. I feel a little bit bad for poor J-Chip, the first ever Patreon of the channel, but I did tell him he could play a better deck if he wanted to, but no, he wanted to play Spriggans. It was a ton of fun playing against you regardless, and I hope to see you in a video again soon. As for today's episode, however, it has ended going 2-2, and my god, today has been just a mess, hasn't it? Multiple misplays, multiple times not thinking about what to do, and then just not succeeding a single challenge. At this point, it's getting bad. We have 2 more episodes to complete a challenge before the tour guide decides to punch us in the face, so should probably get on that, shouldn't I? We end today's episodes having earned yet another 2 start chips to our totals. We're still not able to buy the 3rd tier in the store, but hopefully we can get there next episode. We really, really want to be able to get that equivalent exchange card so that we can trade off one of our cards with something else, but I digress. Maybe we'll never get there at this point. The chance is random after all. But as for this episode, I'd like to thank you for watching it. As always, if you enjoy the content I create, despite me having technical issues probably every single episode at this point, remember to click the subscribe button. If you enjoyed this video specifically, then click the like button and leave a comment down below with suggestions or just, hey, telling me I'm a cool person. You know what? If you watch this far, go tell me I'm a cool person in the comments. That would help my heart a little bit. Remember, the Discord is also available to all of you, which is where I usually spend my days hanging out and fucking around with you guys, as well as the Patreon in case you want to support me outside of this video. But, as always, remember to stay safe out there.